One of the things that Genshin Impact can really use is a sort of banking system. So, how did we get to this kind of idea? Well, let me sort of explain it very, very simply. Basically, in Tevat currently, you are almost forced to log in every day to go and farm all of your commissions, to spend your resin in some sort of way, because if you don't do so, you will lose out the value of those commissions, you will lose out the value of that resin, unless you sort of somehow try to accumulate it, but you can only accumulate so much before the game sort of stops you. And this is the big thing that I want to talk about. Having a banking system is basically a system where, let's say, for every 3 days that you don't log out, on that fourth day that you do log in, all of your commissions will still be available to do. In other words, all of the commissions that you missed out will now be available for you to complete, and in very much the same way, any excess resin that has accumulated will go to, let's say, a separate store where you can accumulate up to about 3 days worth of resin without having to spend it. And I think that would be a sort of generous limit. Giving Genshin Impact a banking system is probably one of the better things that a gacha game can do. So let's think a bit about why a system like this can actually be so useful. So a big problem we've got now in gaming is that, let's say you started out playing something like Honkai Impact and eventually you quit the game and you now sort of move to Genshin and you play a bit of, let's say, Apex along the sidelines and so on. Well, you might be one of those people that's lucky enough to have enough time to be able to do these things. But even if you do have enough time, whenever new games come out, Tower of Fantasy or like Overwatch 2, you now have a new free-to-play game with a new battle pass and a new sort of system that you need to go and grind out. And the unfortunate reality for a lot of people, especially people that are the average that are watching my channel, so most of you are like the average age of like 22, 21, you don't have the money necessarily to like buy all these battle passes and skip the massive time sink. What you have is pretty much just your time, and of course you want to still enjoy the games, but if each game is such a massive time sink, it can really become, or it can almost feel like you're getting burned out in a process, because there's only so much time that goes around. You've still got your college to study for, or you might be holding like a full-time job and so on, and it's just like, well, where's my time and stuff gonna go? And now I might have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, and you might be like, well, I still need to take care of them, my friends, my family. It just gets so much. And when it comes to all of these responsibilities, I mean, obviously you don't want to miss out on the things that your friends are missing out on. You certainly don't want to be that person that, I think most of you might be familiar with this. Everyone talks about, let's say, a certain movie, and you've got no idea what they're talking about because, well, you just didn't have the time to sort of look at it. It's very much the same feeling. So when it comes to like games like Genshin Impact, it would be so cool if you can have a banking system that sets up a dedicated space where you can almost like say to yourself, well, every 3 or 4 days I can put a dedicated amount of time into playing this game, and then I can log off without having to log in every day and so on. And I think that would be a much more healthier way to go about playing this game than being forced to log in every day, and ultimately you're just seeing the same things over and over and over, and no matter who you are, things do get boring. People do feel the sense of burnout, and that's just a natural consequence of what we call the hedonic treadmill. In other words, basically, the more, if let's say for example you just have a bunch of good experiences, well, your body sort of equalizes things to sort of be brought back down to normality. In other words, things that always felt good and good, well, you need a lot higher, you need a much higher amount to still get to like that same level that you experienced initially. It's an interesting idea. You can sort of Google it, the hedonic treadmill. And this is exactly why taking a break and doing other things is so useful, because when you do take a break and then eventually come back, it sometimes feels, oh yeah, this game feels like a bit more fresh to me in a certain sense. So this is kind of my idea that I want to sort of just put out there and put forward. So tell me what you guys think. Obviously the details as I've presented them aren't going to be final. It's not like how you should do it, but it's just a broad or a rough suggestion from my side. And also tell me in the comment sections, have you been feeling burnt out? Do you feel like there's just too much to do with all these F2P games? So yeah, let me know whether you guys can keep up, and if not, well, I don't blame you because I certainly cannot keep up with everything. Yeah, final thing, I've seen the Nihida leaks and stuff and so on. She's looking good, so I'm busy accumulating my fund. We're going to try and see 6 her, so do look forward to that in a month's time.